7:02. And tonight we're going to have Jim Kay lead us to the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion that the Board of Mayor Burgess approve the minutes of the regular meeting September 3rd, 2024, and the special meetings of June 4th, 2024, and August 29th, 2024. Each member received copies for review.
Second motion.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion that the Board of Mayor Burgess approve the monthly reports of September. Each member received copies for review.
Second motion.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First of all, I want to note I'm here fully focused, even though we're not so engaged in combat. So I'll be expecting reports from the Burgess.
They're currently losing.
I know.
Okay.
I'm only taking good reports.
Okay.
That's coming from a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that was a terse exchange.
My hope is that the Mets will play the Yankees in the World Series.
No
I
meetings
would
that week.
love to see that.
Well, the Sox don't have to worry about it.
And I was just gonna say.
You are marked safe from losing any playoff game.
It's now tied.
Yeah.
I will be making no predictions on the length of the meeting. I will ask, is there anyone in the audience who has to present, who wants to move up in the batting order? Hearing none?
Just keep smiling. Just keep smiling.
I was just making fun of it.
So inclined for two things.
All right, well, you chief, we'll move you up. I just one thing, I think this was mentioned laterally in the past, but just so it's on the record. When going back several years, Waterbury Hospital sold to Prospect Medical Holdings. $14 million was set aside and funds to cover medical expenses for those unable to pay, scholarships for nurses, and expanding access to medical care. 2.7 million of that 14 has been designated for Nartec. The money will be invested, it will be held by Health Bridge Foundation. I would say this is similar to the Saunders Trust Fund, much the same type of operation. And it would appear that we'll be getting 400 to 500,000 a year. And when I say we, it's not the borough of Naugatuck, but the social service agencies, nonprofits, or other causes in the borough. So I think it's incumbent on all of us to spread the word. Comes out, and this will be another opportunity for many entities to apply for funding. It's got to be, seems like it has to be related to medical issues, but there's mental health issues just as well. So that covers a wide range. So I just want that reflected in the minutes, and I want everyone to know about it.
Do you know if Health Bridge has a board that'll look at the applications?
They do. I think they're just getting their feet wet and getting organized.
Send it out.
That's the best.
That's the best thing to do.
Calling you in, calling you in there.
That's it.
All right,
6-4.
Could it be put towards healthcare training too, or is it just?
Well, we said, I'm just saying,
That's what I was
yes,
thinking.
as long as an entity wants to use it for training.
Okay,
So, like, maybe something with, here with Griffin Hospital.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
okay.
we will now go to public comment. Is there anyone in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? Please state your name and address.
Francis Santana, 1 New Street. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to report that the United Way of Naugatuck and Beacon Falls started their fundraising campaign for the 24-25 year. And I will be serving as one of the co-chairs alongside Bob and Eileen Mezzo. So I just wanted to let the Burgesses know we had our kickoff last Thursday, and we've set a goal of $500,000. We have big shoes to fill because Pam and Dave Rotatori did an amazing job. And obviously Ion Bank was a big contributor to that campaign. So I am here to just let you guys know what our slogan is this year. It's find it in your heart. I ask that you consider making a contribution to the United Way. The United Way, those funds that are raised through the campaign are used to fund 27 local organizations and initiatives and programs that directly service our neighbors, our friends, our children, our families. So in the areas of basic need, financial stability, and education. So I ask you to please find it in your heart to contribute to the United Way campaign this year. And if you would like to make a one-time donation, you can go to the Naugatuck, it's the unitedwaynaugatuck.org website. And you can also do ongoing payroll deductions if you're so inclined. But I do ask you to find it in your heart and consider contributing.
So before you go to the next point, we've appointed a new person as our borough liaison for all of our unions and employees, Kayla Rios, and I think you should meet her. She's very outgoing, likable, pleasant, and this will be her first year, so she's taking over for Ray, but we should talk to her and, you know.
Where can I find her? Is she in this building?
Yes, she's in the building. She's on the second floor in the town clerk's office. She's the assistant town clerk.
Okay.
Is that something, I think it's important for us to show leadership in this initiative. It would be nice if we could have our deduction taken from our Burgess stipend as a United Way donation. And whatever, whatever amount that people chose. But I think it would be nice to be able to say 100% of the Board of Mayor and Burgesses are donating to United Way, which no one would know if it's a little bit here, a little bit there, and maybe you pressed the button, maybe you didn't.
Yeah. I'm sure that can be done.
Okay. Who do I talk to about that?
I was at Kayla.
Well, you were Kayla, but
It's gotta happen
also,
the other end.
finance, Eileen Cornacchia,
Okay,
because she could set it up.
okay.
We need the donation cards or whatever.
Yes, we're
Just-
actually.
Right? Is that Allison, who in finance would be the right person to talk to?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Mary Nardoza had a payroll.
Mary Nardos.
Mary Nardoza, you got it.
Because we get them at the school department, Charlie, and I get one,
We're creating an electronic one now as well, because a lot of people just kind of want to point and click and don't want to necessarily use credit cards. So we'll have both options. We'll have it electronically, and that's going out next week. We just recorded a video for the school district, so we'll be sending those out. Great. That's everything. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment?
Hello. Lee Kowski, over at Crestwood Drive. So I'm here to talk about my cheer program. I need some space in town. I'm having a really hard time getting it. It's been extremely difficult this season. We have been so happy with using the event center, but as we all know, the event center took a hit during the floods of August 18th. So we are actually out of that facility as of October 31st. And the rest of the town is unavailable. And so we are just,
How much space?
so I need to be able to roll out a competition app. The auxiliary gym in Naugatuck High School is great, but we all know that our athletes are very busy, and we're trying really hard not to drain our bigger facilities to have. We would set up home base at the Armory, but again, it is the second time in a year.
You want something about that size?
That's what we need.
You need ceiling height.
And we need ceiling height because right now, we have girls that are 12 and, you know, they hit the ceiling in the event center. So we have to be careful where we put them so that they don't hit the ceiling. So just.
Is a cafeteria a big enough space if you move the tables?
The problem is the height of the ceiling.
Okay.
That is an issue, and that's a very good. I just need some problem solving, and you know, we are serving the community.
Elementary schools.
We want to feed the high school, and now that we have a high school cheer team, it's wonderful. We're so excited. But we just need some help to feed. We have athletes that will be Naugatuck High School students and will be Naugatuck cheerleaders.
As a person with connections in the education system, what did they tell you?
So we're having a hard time like that. We keep getting denied
Did
for
you
a
try
lot
me?
of different things.
Did you try me?
Well, hold on, you get denied by whom?
Bernie's. I'm not sure why. I don't really know.
Is it her decision?
I think,
No, she's managing a calendar. She's not making the decision.
That's what I mean, so
Yeah.
why is she the one dictating,
Well, wait,
I'm not, listen,
Before
I'm
you
not
go all
accusing
Bob on
anyone.
it,
I'm not
it's-
accusing
you've
anyone.
got
well, I'm not
every.
going all Bob, she made a comment,
I know.
and I said, well, why is she the one making the decisions?
Yeah, because
she's
somebody
not the
has to
one.
manage that
I mean,
calendar.
there's a lot
That's what
going
I'm
on in the
saying.
district, and I totally understand that there are lots of activities
Well,
in
what
town.
time of day?
Most of the time we are 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 8:30 for the older girls.
So you'd need janitors if it was the school.
Right.
Yeah, we have second shifters.
Yeah, we-
Right.
in most of them, yeah.
And honestly, like, when we're allowed in the school, we so appreciate the space. We
How
really
many days do
appreciate
you
it.
leave?
We're a 5-day-a-week program. You know,
So
I mean,
that
4 nights is really, and I know it's a lot, but you're talking about cheerleaders. It's a very dangerous sport.
Right.
If you are not in optimum athletic condition, it is a very, you could hurt yourself. And we're getting close to competition time now, so we're really concerned that we can't get more than one night in a gym.
I would see
That's
what
rough.
you could do with cafeterias. That's what I did at my high school.
Okay.
Because they don't tend to get rented out very often at all.
That's true, that's
And
true.
you could have them, and then, you know, maybe that one night that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cross Street's cafeteria
nights a
ceiling is as high as our gym.
That's true.
And
Because that used to be a
Maples-
gymnasium.
Maples is too,
So-
and I mean,
look for the
I drive
So
by there.
Maple has categorically denied us every time that we've asked.
Since Lisa's been there,
ECC, we have been able to get into, but they actually have, time constraints too, because they have programs until 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So,
maybe that's why the Maples was 6, part of there till 6.
right.
Yeah. Every-
So, I
every-
mean, I just wanna go ahead and throw myself out there and
Yeah.
say, you know, this is something that we are looking for space, and it's not you know, I understand, we're a nonprofit, we're the ones that agree.
What about Bank of America building?
I don't think it's big enough.
More space would not be.
I'm
big
just
enough
trying to
for
find
routine.
something to use that for.
They would take on the liabilities.
Yeah, Central
Well,
Ave.
it's ours.
I know it is, but you got to put security in there, custodial.
If it's not being used.
Alicia?
Yeah.
Central Ave has a nice gym.
Central Ave,
That's
Chapel
ECC.
That's
ECC, yes,
Yeah.
and they have actually, in the earlier part of the year, they actually did offer us like 2 nights a week. But we had time constraints because of not being able to get in there at 6 o'clock. And, you know,
Like for Cross Street, I know our gymnasium, there's a couple nights a week, the Special Olympics
Oh,
happen. You would not
100%.
be able to get all 5
and
days.
I've talked to Tiffany about
But
it.
when you
definitely
talk about the
have.
cafeteria, that high ceiling, when those tables are moved, you do have enough room to do basic routine, about as big as your routine
Yeah.
stage.
Open the splitting, like if you were able to get 2 nights at ECC and 2 nights.
Yeah,
at
I'm
Cross
open
Street.
to that. I'm completely open to that. And I appreciate, listen, I appreciate all of the ideas. I'm coming here because I can't get any answers on the back end.
Right.
And we're trying.
The other thing is when you're putting in your application and Bernice is looking at the calendar and saying no, maybe you'd be better off sitting down with her and finding out where there are spaces.
Yeah.
What about
And
one of
then
the
your application will be
like the
okay.
congregational church, like that
Right.
parish hall?
They can have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, that way.
I don't, you know,
Actually,
we've
challenge that.
even gone so far as to ask at Mount View Plaza and at retail spaces, but they want $1,000 a month. And that's not possible when I'm charging my parents $300 and the uniform is $250. And I still have to pay for insurance, I still have to pay for, that's why you see us constantly fundraising, and it's because of that. That's why you'll see us at every single event, because we're trying really hard to keep youth sports alive.
Would an auditorium stage be adequate for you guys?
Excuse me?
Auditorium stage.
Right.
Like City Hill's
Yeah.
auditorium stage, doesn't have enough ceiling and
Yeah.
by wide enough space.
That might work, might work.
And it's not used as much as the high school.
And you know, I really like that idea too of actually sitting down with Bernice
I
again,
think you're better
because I
off that
haven't
way.
actually talked to her since like August, well, July.
So
So it's
when
probably.
she had, that's all she does, is look at a calendar and says, if there's something in the block, it's no.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
you
even
sit
ask
down
for
with-
Brian to
and you
be in
get a
that
yes.
meeting as well, as the athletics. And maybe ask for Brian to be in that meeting too,
That's
as
a
the
good point,
athletics
too.
director, just we're trying to feed our program, and that cheer program at the high school is falling apart.
Yeah.
So if we
They
can
need-
build
they
that
need-
from the bottom up,
Right.
Where do they practice?
They
this
practice
is the
in
first year they've had
auxiliary
a
gym.
team in 3 years.
Yeah, they're in the auxiliary
They
gym.
haven't had a
When
team
they finish, it's
at the high school.
They are, they
That's-
are at the same time that we would be.
The gym isn't big enough to put the
I was
divider.
gonna say, you can't be in there with them?
We could be in there, but now we're talking about 2 sets of mats. And the mats are not small.
Yeah, they're not somewhere that they can be like wherever they are, like they have to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to be in a spot and stay there, and they can't, because they're not something that, you know,
They're not
I-
portable.
yeah,
It's important people understand that cheer season is not football season. Cheer season
it is all year.
is all year, and you do your real serious competitions in the winter time.
Well, and not just getting the space, it's, you know, because I remember doing this,
Also
but
basketball.
I was doing it, it's getting the space, but then also being able to store those mats in that space. So someone may agree to the space, but then they're like, sorry, we have nowhere for you to keep your mats though.
Right.
So then it doesn't matter that you have the space.
Right. And like
want
City
to watch
Hill has been gracious to give us 1 night a week, and they only have 2 mats. 2 mats does not make 9 mats. That's 9 mats that we need for, and really, I mean, the high school is surviving with 7 mats. And we actually we give them 2 mats so that they have full 9 mats.
Mhm.
But it's the space, like the space is impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible.
And because it's the months you're looking at, you're also competing with
Basketball.
basketball.
Yeah,
That's a
everything.
lot. Indoor
It's a lot.
soccer.
Winter
It's a lot.
conditioning.
Lot going on.
Yeah.
And
Indoor track.
normally we would start talking about winter cheer, but I honestly, at this point, I don't know that I can have a winter cheer program because I do not have access to gym space. So I will certainly go ahead and take some of these ideas and go back. but I'm telling the town that I just need a little help. I really need a little help trying to find these spaces, and it's not, we're not trying to overstep into some, we're a little youth cheer program. I've got 50 athletes. I want to make sure these 50 Naugatuck kids have a great season and they have something to do, that they're not sitting in front of a screen for a little while. Really, that's about it.
You drop that date.
My out date there is October 31st, so Halloween.
You might be able to get that extended a little. What part of the building are you in?
We are in the old Synergy space right now. We do not
So
have all of the mats
Let me
out.
say this, we are quite sure. I shouldn't say I'm quite sure. There's a chance we could extend that maybe a month or so, and just to give you some more time to find a place.
That would be wonderful. It's been a lot to have to think about as president, and I just want these girls to feed
Maybe,
into the high school. We want a good program at the high school. We
Maybe
haven't had one in a while, and we really want one.
maybe when you go to the board of ed, you should bring me with you.
Okay. That's a deal.
And Kim.
I'd be happy to go.
All right, I love that. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for all of your animated responses. I didn't expect that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further public comment? Anyone on Zoom? Last call for public comment. We will now go to Kyle Kelly and his NAC monthly report.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm not there in person. Please don't hold it against me. I know you got used to it. I apologize for that. Just a couple of quick highlights. I don't know if you guys had a minute to look at the report. Something to just point out, our mutual aid out of town this last month was 107 calls. That is just, it's unbelievable in simple terms. We helped to cover half of the city of Waterbury quite a bit this month. We helped staff, up staff. We added an ambulance about, I think it was 15 days, upwards of 300 something hours we staffed. So putting on that car for Waterbury, and we ended up doing a lot of calls, not just in Waterbury, but in Middlebury and Prospect and Bethany. So it was a busy month, almost 500 calls. Other than that, we're working on getting our new fly car upfitted that got replaced from the one that was totaled out by the insurance from the flood, and we're pressing on. So that's all I have.
All right, any questions for Kyle?
I have one, Kyle, you heard earlier the mayor talking about some money that might be available to us in regards to healthcare and public safety. Maybe somewhere along the line, we could look at ways we could incorporate maybe some things happening in Naugatuck ambulance and tap into that. So even if it's just training EMTs, train people who are interested in going into the profession, we could direct the money towards an existing organization to do that training. Would that be helpful to you?
It absolutely would. I was on one meeting with the mayor a few weeks ago with that group and gave some insight, and hopefully as it gets off the ground, we're able to capture some of that for sure.
The cost of some classes might be a prohibitive factor. People who want to get involved, if they want to do it, there's a way we could do a scholarship or help with that. That'd probably be a very good thing for all parties.
I agree, absolutely.
I just want to stress one thing. They're servicing 8 other communities. Imagine if you're in Seymour, Middlebury, one of these communities, and you're in dire need of an ambulance. I mean, just the fact, the distance to travel, it's amazingly dangerous for people that are ill. So they do just a wonderful job getting there as quickly as they can. And sometimes when you listen, they get 3 calls in a row and they're shifting ambulances here, they're shifting there, they're going from the hospital to here. It's just amazing how they're organized to get to all these things. But I just feel so sorry for people that have to wait because these communities aren't solving the problem themselves.
I agree with you 100%. Just so you know, those numbers there for the responses. Those reflect the responses in Naugatuck, not the out of town responses, because those would obviously drastically affect some of those times. So
Okay, any further questions? All right, thank you, Kyle. We'll proceed to item 8, Amazon update. So first of all, as we all know, Amazon has decided to move forward with the project. They are working diligently on building plans. They're in the land use process. They have retained I shouldn't say they have retained, the Borough and Waterbury have retained experts to assist the Inland Wetlands Commission and the building inspector's office in both towns, with specialists picked by the borough who are paid by Amazon to assist our people with some of the complexities of especially the building and the fire code issues and things like that. So the project is going forward full speed ahead. The time periods under our purchase and sale agreement have expired, which paves the way for the next item on the agenda, where we will be calling for a motion to authorize me to enter into a second amendment to the purchase and sale agreement, which will extend the construction feasibility period and the land use approval period through August 4, 2025. So we have a proposed agreement. There's quite a few whereases, legal mumbo jumbo, but the long and the short of it is that we would be extending the construction feasibility period and the land use approval period. So I'm going to stop there. First of all, does anyone have a question about what I said? Okay, so we'll now go to item number 9.
Okay, we go to 18 for the police.
What?
We go to 18 for the police. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren P. Hess to enter into a second amendment to the purchase and sale agreement between the Borough of Naugatuck and BMG Waterbury LLC.
Second motion.
Okay, so I'm not going to repeat what I just said, except this would authorize me to agree to an extension of the contract of the construction feasibility period and land use approval period through 8/4/25. Questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Yes, let's go.
Number
to-
18,
Is that Colin?
that's the police chief. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren P. Hess to enter into a contract with Kenny Canine Solutions LLC, Eastford, Connecticut, relating to the training of animal control staff, review of building maintenance, in the amount not to exceed $10,000, as recommended by Chief of Police C. Colin McAllister.
Second motion.
Okay, Colin.
So as many of you are aware, we've been struggling with the animal control facility, which has been at full capacity for since recent memory. The other issue that's also playing is the state has new requirements for the animal control facility, the actual infrastructure on it. I don't think we're at a point now to necessarily say what we need in the facility, whether we need a new facility. But the goal here is that we'd like to bring a consultant in and try to identify how we can possibly maintain our current one. There's requirements just sealing the floor. We've got different solutions ranging all over the map. Also, some of our fencing, we're looking at best recommendations and best practices for fencing to maintain the canines that are there, as well as also the possibility to convert some of the pre-existing kennels into maybe, for example, for animals, maybe smaller dogs or cats, just getting inundated with a wide variety of different animals down there. It's the unfortunate thing is people are abandoning their pets or animals and taking away anything away from the hard work the animal control folks are doing down there. They've been taking the animals, trying to place them as much as they can, but they seem to rotating thing at this point where they get several places and they end up taking more in at the same time. So the goal of this is that we're looking at a consultant to come in and see what kind of tools, what kind of equipment that we can use to try to improve their operations down there, as well as the facility that we currently have, what kind of upgrades we need in there. So we do think that this is the first step in our long-term trying to address down there. This vendor comes highly recommended and does often train and work with consulting with a lot of different farms. So it's really how that works.
We also consider if we actually need a newer facility, because I know that there's been talk about putting one up at the police station, correct?
Yeah, that.
And also, would they also analyze whether it's something that can be regionalized? I don't know. I mean, they're the experts on this. And I would assume that they would consult in, what do we need to do to maintain our current one, but also, is it going to be, if it's too expensive to do that, is it more feasible to build a new facility? And would they help in designing it, how large it should be, et cetera?
So the design of this facility would be included in this. This is strictly related to the current operations to try to keep facility running as safe as we can. But that is something that we're looking at from this consultant's point of view, feasible with our current size and capacity. So, we are taking that into consideration whether or not we want to go out and get plans for that facility. I don't know if we're there yet financially, so I think this is going to be a temporary phase. Yes, and that's part of the struggle that we're in right now with the current facility is we're getting pulled in a bunch of different directions. We want to go spend several $1,000s on fencing, it's the right fence. The dogs eat through some of the fencing, get their paws stuck on it, so we want to get humane fencing, but what's the industry standard right now?
I think we've band-aided that place a lot.
Yes.
I know the last time I went down there, like the floor, the dogs are getting their paws all infected from the fencing, and then they're, they pee on the floor and they're stepping in it, and it's.
You're right.
Yeah.
And we do intend to proceed with a new facility. I'll just note it's about a $3 million item. So
Right.
we're exploring ways to either obtain grants or find other ways to fund it, or through some combination, start planning for it and budgeting for it. But,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely
but
needs
there's
to be
gonna be
assessed.
several years before it's done, and including regionalization. So,
Is the footprint of the current property just much too small for what you want to do, number one? And number two, do we have any property that's borough owned that is next to that property?
no, the best place seems to be behind the police.
Yeah, I
station
get that, yeah.
At the top of the hill. And there's even more than.
It's sad, like, I mean, just going in there, it broke my heart, and then, even like as a public person coming in to like potentially adopt an animal, there's nowhere to like see this dog play or take it for a walk, like, it's just rough. So if this guy can come in and make some suggestions to what we can do
Yeah, this is.
for now, but I just don't want
It's a good thing.
to, yeah, I would love for him to like give us maybe a timeline, like, hey, here's my recommendations, but this is only gonna be good for a year, and then you guys are gonna be looking at.
Go with Charles Moringa.
Chief, just ask a couple questions. First of all, we've been through the facility, many of us. We know that the type of repair is gonna have to go in there, it's gonna be extensive. This is not a DIY project by any means. And could we say that this outside consultant bringing is rather similar to what we did with the communications issue? Where we brought people in who were more knowledgeable about a specific item, they come in, give us an idea and recommendations of what we need, that really, we at face value can see, well, that doesn't look right, these folks can really justify it. And will they equate everything to make sure we are current with our ability to adhere to state rules? Because right now, our current animal shelter, it doesn't appear as though, from the newer guidelines that come out, we are lacking. So if we get that information, that's the type of thing we're gonna get from this study.
So it's a little bit of both. So there will be that consulting the physical structure as well as having a background in canine training as well too. We're also hoping that maybe some of the dogs and some of the animals we have in there get identified as being possibly trainable, giving some of our staff some skills that they could use to maybe round up some of the rougher edges on some of them, make them more adaptable as well too. So it's a little bit of everything in the sense of consulting, but it is, yes, you're correct. It's bringing somebody in who's a specialization. And again, our animal control officers are great. They do an awesome job, but they're doing the best they can with the facility. And I think taking something to take a step back and look globally at what our issues are down there is what we're looking for, especially. And it is saw from the radio project that we had presented to was we had a consultant who gave us input, and then we made that decision of like, okay, we're ready to go forward with what kind of facility we need and how. So I'd say this is the first step in that. So there are designs involved in this. To have vendors that specialize in animal facilities based on what our needs would be. So I really think we're very proud for this one.
It's important we look at supports on this, because remember, this is public health and safety. It's not just a nice place for the dogs to stay. And it's a public health and safety issue that we should address it seriously. Thank you, Chief.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
One more for you, Chief. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess add to the agenda, a motion to enter into a contract for the police and fire department, electronic schedule management, and police extra duty management.
Second motion.
All right, all those in favor of adding it?
Aye.
Opposed? Item two.
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren P. Hess to execute all contracts and related documents with VCS Intelligent Workforce Management, Freehold, New Jersey, relating to the police and fire department, electronic schedule management, and police extra duty management in an amount not to exceed $11,724.75, as recommended by Chief of Police Colin McAllister and Fire Chief Kenneth Hanks.
Second motion.
Okay. Chiefs?
So, give an explanation on this. We currently have an electronic scheduling software. It manages both the day-to-day operations as well as our extra duty end of it. So what we're doing is we're looking to transition to a vendor we previously used. They now also have a module that can manage the extra duty, which is a huge bonus on our part, as you guys can see all the roadwork going around. The difference now is that the reason there's a dollar figure on that is our previous contract. The vendor would take a percentage of the extra duty revenue and pay for the scheduling software. This vendor actually would send us a bill, if you will, rather than taking it out of the actual revenue that we generate. So it's 8.25% currently is what we pay for extra duty management. This vendor's 8% is what we would pay out of the total revenue generated. So my math off of last year, it's about $7,000 is what we pay now, but it obviously escalates up with the increased revenue from our extra duty. So this one will just simply have a pay for it rather than necessarily tying it to our increased revenue. The software is something that we feel can not just day-to-day for operations, but also this vendor has agreed to work with the town's finance department to make sure that they can export, which is something that we're striving towards to make sure that we can export our payroll to town hall much more efficiently. The added part is that we are looking for a price this has been priced in to add the fire department on as well too, once we have this up and running. So they will go from pen and paper to electronic scheduling software as well too, so that's over to things.
Yeah, so actually, as Colin mentioned, they already have an electronic scheduling system. We have a notebook that has 23 hiring lists for the time. It's all dictated by union contract and past practice. It's a manual system. Hire a person, rewrite the list, and rewrite the list. And you can see what errors have done. So this will eliminate that, where an individual can take out their phone and say, I want to take next Friday off on vacation day, or I've got one available. They put in, it gets done, it gets hired. This also ties into our long-range plan. We want to consolidate dispatch. One of the jobs that our current dispatchers do is they take those phone calls coming in, they pass them over to the captain, he makes the hiring. This takes that administrative side, all of us all together. It's a great common for most fire departments and police departments who are on that schedule. We had a meeting with the vendor last week with the union president. They are convinced they can take our overtime rules. Becomes free for us. Basically, what happens is the individual put it for vacation day. When we visit, yes, in charge myself or the chief for this, moving on false. If the person on the list gets notification, they want to work tonight. They say yes or no. They say no. It goes to the northwest. Right now, the captains are up at 6 in the morning making phone calls. And we do it again at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So those are probably a lot of things.
Is there training as part of the contract? Not everybody's good at using those.
We have a lot of young guys over there.
I know you have a lot of young guys.
Yeah, trainings. It's very intuitive.
Anybody in my neighborhood, you can get some real tiny persons.
Will this affect Pops 35, so they fit in there
It's
anywhere?
totally separate. But the important part also is, the chief mentioned, is that this ties to ADP. Right now, Kelly does our payroll manually, and she goes to the spreadsheet and sends it over. Again, each time.
No idea that we were so ancient
Oh,
with
yeah.
this kind of stuff.
We're 1960s over here. With
Between the copper line thing that you told us last time.
So, one of my goals as chief is to get us to the early 21st century.
If I could just build on what you think, so saying, one of the benefits when we went scheduling digitally, I'd say like 2016 or so, when we went over to it, is our supervisors were literally spending half of their shift making phone calls to fill vacant shifts. They're not out on the road patrolling, they're not out supervising what they need to do. So once you go that route, you really can't go back from it. This system seems to be a little more automated, I guess, would be the word, because ours is our current one promises some stuff. The system that we left originally never got us there, so it's kind of funny. We'll break up a little back with the X here. So, but they've done a lot of system upgrades here, and we feel that they're going to be needs.
And it sounds like, that what you just said, this is gonna save man-hour time, right? Time is money. So no matter what we're paying for it, we're gonna get it back in the money saved, so the people who are doing work can be going on more productive things. They're getting more help.
And that price tag, like I said, is worked into the extra duty revenue, so it's not, it's more or less a flat rate. Let Allison speak to it, but we've had some discussion about how it's paid for, so it's not necessarily gonna be a line item. It's work.
Further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, at least we don't have to look up the horses to the fire wagon anymore.
Surprised we don't still do that too.
So, Jim Duggan, I don't know if you were here when we asked if anyone wanted to be expedited.
Sure. Now we wonder.
You didn't ask us that.
Come forward and the deputy mayor will find your spot.
Only one snack tonight.
Jim Goggin, born to be expedited.
I'll find you, you're here somewhere.
Expedition 26, 27.
Thank you. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess abate taxes on real property located at 2 Thunderbird Drive in the amount of $11,866. A public sale was conducted pursuant to CGS 12-80 on December 13, 2023 for 2 Thunderbird Drive, parcel 9301 in the Borough of Naugatuck. Pursuant to that order, all liens will be extinguished for the sums owed to the Borough of Naugatuck as recommended by Tax Collector James Goggin.
Second the motion.
All right, Jim.
So we have,
to unpack here, so take it from the top.
so we have a lot of old mobile homes that have been abandoned up in this mobile home park.
That's off of Mullane Lane?
Yes, Riverview. So at any rate, one by one, the mobile home park is trying to redo them and put them back on the tax rolls. These haven't been on the tax rolls forever. They've been there, but there's nothing there. They were just so now we're gonna take them off. They've actually gotten these two mobile homes, new homes there, and they actually paid taxes on the 23 grand list already. So those ones are there. These ones are gone. There's probably gonna be in the next year another 8 of these that have been abandoned forever. Nobody's even there.
So just for those that don't know, when we have a lane on a unit that's in horrible condition, the only thing we can do is take the unit. And if you take the unit, it costs you money to get rid of it. So the notion is to work with the property owner to abate the taxes that we will never collect and encourage them to put up a new unit that will be paying more in taxes that we will actually collect, and to work to make the overall park nicer and better overall.
Management of the park moved down a generation. Previous generation was there for a long, long time. And as they were there, they became a little bit more lax. These things happened, these units, they just became a big run down and run out. So now we've had a resurgence with the next generation and actually his son too, to rebuild these and to rebuild the park, to make it a profitable business for them and to make it hopefully a profitable business for us.
Okay. Any questions?
The next one is the same.
Any discussion?
Just one question. This is the taxes on the mobile home,
Yes.
not on the property.
Right.
No, the property is paid separately by Riverview.
Right.
Right.
Just one clarify.
And this is uncollected.
Well, we could have at one time taken the unit.
Today, if we took it, we lose money, is that right?
No, we have to follow the state statute. It was already auctioned off and it's already gone.
Good. All right. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgess abate taxes on real property located at 4 Thunderbird Drive in the amount of $24,001.41. A public sale was conducted pursuant to CGS 12-80 on December 13, 2023 for 4 Thunderbird Drive, parcel 046-9302 in the Borough of Naugatuck. Pursuant to the order, all liens will be extinguished with the sums owed to the Borough of Naugatuck as recommended by Tax Collector James Goggin.
All right, same discussion?
I don't think I have anything else to add unless somebody's got a question. I'll leave that next.
All right. Any questions? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you all so much.
You're welcome, Jim.
Good night.
All right. Okay. Number 10. So, as promised, I have, I'm going to be releasing this week 2 documents. One will be a very detailed update of our rural development plan, and I'm going to go through it briefly tonight. And I'm also going to do a shorter form, sort of a 2 or 3 page summary, because this is now probably up to like 40 pages. So we're going to have a 2-page summary with pictures. So it'll be released this week. The pictures are being processed, and I'm just going to give you some of the highlights and some of the things you might not even know about on the development plan. Now, when it comes out, it's going to look like this. So it's going to be the old plan, and then the updates are in red. And some people, really, you almost have to reread the opening part to understand the updates. But in any event, on our downtown, the one everyone asks about, complete streets and utility project. At this time, all new city water lines have been installed. Eversource Electric has built above-ground transformers to replace the underground vaults, which are being removed or modified. New stormwater pipes are now going in. And when you see the pictures, you'll be quite impressed because the new pipes are 4 times the size of the existing pipes, and the existing pipes are 17 feet down. So when you see it, if you look in the holes there, they're deep. And the stormwater pipes go on the bottom, and they're going in now. Also going along with the stormwater pipes, the new fiber lines that are encased in stone and concrete and are such that they can be repaired, replaced, upgraded, expanded without ever cutting the road again through a new manhole system. They're also going in right now just in front of the stormwater pipes. You probably noticed, I'm going to call it Northern Church Street, or it's north as far as downtown, from Division Street up to the bank, is now being prepared for final paving. It's a rebuild, so we're not milling and paving. They're ripping everything up, and it's a total rebuild that's being done now. The final coat of asphalt will go down probably the end of October, beginning of November, Jeremy. Right. Yeah. And 18 is out there right now working on that. As soon as the stormwater pipes are in, the new sanitary sewer lines for Church Street will be installed. And they're basically alongside of the stormwater pipes. And it's expected that all of the utility work and pipe work on Church Street will be completed this year. There will be some follow-up Eversource electric work, and in the winter, depending on the weather, or no later than when the weather clears, the amenities, sidewalks, etc., will be completed and done, and final paving will be done. That will be the last thing, and that is on schedule right now for the summer of 25. So it's the same contract date that we had when we started. There was probably about a 2-week delay from the storm. As of right now, we're very close to the schedule. I would point out that this contractor, Fucci, was excellent. They chipped in, joined our team to help with the storm cleanup. Now this is a complex job. If you look in the whole street, just think about it. It goes down 17 feet. There's new stormwater, new sanitary sewer, new city water, new fiber, new electric, new gas, laterals. It's a lot happening, so it takes time and it's all being done together, so, I guess I'll stop there. Any questions on that?
Two things, I think, things that need to be highlighted for our keyboard warriors that love to either make comments or publish comments about how ridiculous we do business. I think it's a really great idea that there's a system that the roads won't have to be torn up again, that they, they can be accessed through. I think that's something to be highlighted, and any semblance of timeline that you can give, that should be highlighted as well, because.
It's the same timeline, so.
I understand that it is, but, nobody really lets information get in the way of their keyboard warriorness.
I deal in the facts. Each of the facts.
Exactly.
And then those people just find a new thing.
They will, they will.
And I also think that the pictures that, we will be publishing.
Pictures are always
speak
good.
1,000 words. When you look in a hole and you see a guy standing next to the stormwater pipe like this, and you can't even see his head because he's.
I walked by it today when I went down to get coffee. I was like,
This is real time construction.
Right.
Mike's Pizza Palace was 17 feet.
17 foot hole in front of it. Yeah, Mayor, it's not the message. I think we all understand that the message is good, the timetable is being adhered to, progress is being made. It's just the message delivery and design to the general population. That's where the hardest part is. I mean, I know you guys might hear the same thing. Every time you go somewhere, people hit you up, like, what's going on downtown? How long is it gonna be? And we try and communicate through just grassroots as best we can. But we wish it was a better way, and that's where I wish we had a daily news ability to get information out there in a timely fashion. And just even how we design our message as a town using our technology, getting it out there, I think we need to find better ways to communicate the public
So if you tell me what they are, I'll follow them. When we have festivals, right? We do everything we can to get the word out, and I get nothing but complaints. Why didn't you tell me there was a festival? So, and that's good news, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Websites
very
are
good.
static. People have to seek information from websites. Social media is a little more intentional where you can put things out. That is probably our best tool to use, and it is used to a measured degree, but if we're hearing that people telling us they're not getting the message, that means we've got to look at our delivery system.
So I look at you all and many people as getting the information, understanding it, processing it, answering the questions.
See, I can't deal with the idiots on Facebook because I would blow a gasket. I really would. I would. And you know what? You try to tell them facts and they don't want to hear it.
We can't respect.
So it's like you almost want to go through the screen and punch them. That is what it is.
All right, so I'm gonna.
Maybe someday AI is going to give you that power to do that.
yeah, we burning something down.
Let me ask you a question. Do you want me to go through these now so everyone here knows? You're gonna get every Burgess.
Just sending them to us.
I would, we can be held responsible for reading. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we have an update along those lines for every project, one lengthy one and one shorter one with pictures.
Pictures.
Pictures are good.
That's up on the town website. You just refer people to that.
We'll put it there, the library. Right. Okay. Let's go to item 11. Okay, thank you, Brian. So as we all know, we previously voted and set aside funding to acquire 3 parcels of land for open space and new hiking trails from the Connecticut Water Company on land near the Mulberry and Candy reservoirs. So all of the mapping work deeds is all set to go, and we're about to finalize the acquisition. I noticed that, in our last motion, we've already surpassed the date. I think it was April 1 or March 31st of this year to finish. So we're going to finish late. So I will entertain a motion that we extend the closing date for the acquisition of 3 parcels of land from the Connecticut Water Company for open space and new hiking trails through November 15th of 2024, and that I be authorized to sign all appropriate documents to finalize the acquisition.
So moved.
Second motion.
All right, any questions or discussion? I'll just say I like this for a lot of reasons, but most of our hiking trails are on the west side of Naugatuck, and these are really beautiful trails on the east side, and I think people will really enjoy them. And we'll have to work on getting the word out, but
Well, you didn't tell
they're
me.
beautiful. Okay.
Mayor, we still have the ability to do some athletic fields on some of those spaces.
So on one of the 3 parcels that adjoins Delgado Field, 2.5 acres will be recreation field space. It's the same deal we approved originally. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I reappoint Smith Payne Jr., Van Ave, as a member of the Naugatuck Housing Authority, term to expire 10/1/2029.
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgess approve the reappointment of Attorney Neil Hanlon, 1204 Winslow Drive, Watertown, as a member of the Human Resource Development Board, term to expire October 1st, 2027.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgess approve the reappointment of Maria De Silva, 171 Land Drive, Naugatuck, as a member of the Human Resource Development Board, term to expire October 1st, 2027.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgesses approve the reappointment of Jan Joseph Mazeski, Woodbine Street, Naugatuck, as a member of the Naugatuck Valley Health District, term to expire October 1st, 2027.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgesses approve the reappointment of Adam Bronco, 34 Fairfield Court, Naugatuck, as a member of the Naugatuck Valley Health District, term to expire October 1st, 2027.
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The Bronx coming out of me, I said court. Motion that the Board of Maine Burgesses authorize Mayor N. Warren P. Hess to execute a license agreement between the Borough of Naugatuck and Catholic Cemeteries Association of the Archdiocese of Hartford Incorporated for the borough's continued use of Cotton Hollow Field for baseball games and related sporting events commencing on January 1st, 2025, and ending on December 31st, 2027, as recommended by Borough Attorney Edward Fitzpatrick.
Second motion.
Okay, so this is pretty simple. They give us the right to use the field at no charge, and we provide insurance, and we're extending that arrangement for another 3 years.
We maintain that field as well, or did I?
Jeremy?
No park department does.
Thank you.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Maine Burgesses authorize Mayor N. Warren P. Hess to enter into an agreement with Woodward and Curran Middlesex Corporate Center, Middletown, Connecticut, to provide environmental consulting services in the amount of $15,000.
Second motion.
All right, so, at our last meeting, we discussed looking into environmental issues at the Hershey property. So I went out and solicited some costs to see what it would take to accomplish that objective. And we spoke to Woodard and Kern, who are experts in the field, who work for us on other projects, and they've come up with a price of $15,000, which I think is a very fair price, to analyze a whole host of documents and to give us some guidance as to what's the real story. What is the situation with the property? Now, I will note that this is confidential information, so we're going to have to treat it in that manner. But we will get the information that we need to assess a whole host of different options for that property. Question?
Yeah, they did we actually did the phase one back in,
Well, so if you're looking at the list.
Yeah.
Those basically were prior.
people that were interested in the property.
Like there's the information that Hershey did when they did the work.
Yeah.
And then there's the information that was looked at by the prior people who didn't consummate the deal. And we will look at all of that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess approve the bids for contract fiscal year 25-B082 for request for qualifications for winter snow plowing, sanding, and snow removal to the following vendors as per bid, as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart as a Fred. Contract shall commence upon vendor completing all borough requirements, and the purchase order is received by vendor.
Second the motion.
This is a bid that, thank you again, Finance and Julie, for putting it out for us. It's very helpful. We got responses from Big K and S&S, contractors we've used for many years. We'll be using one truck from S&S and 3 trucks from Big K. Same rates we've had for the last few years. Only used, obviously, when we get a significant snowstorm. Having any appetite to use that?
We used it for 3 events last year. One for 12 hours, or one for 12 hours, one for 20 and 20. So it's usually it's 20 summer.
Are we approving this a little early? Because I don't like when we do this really early, because I don't want it to be snowing next week.
Remember, we do it, we're already using it, so.
So you're happy with what we have here?
Yep, very happy.
You guys are good. All right, any questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren P. Hess to enter into a professional engineering services agreement with Weston and Sampson, Rocky Hill, Connecticut, related to the development of 2 stormwater pollution prevention plans, SWPPPS, for the transfer station and the park and recreation facility in the amount of $14,500, as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
Second the motion.
James.
These reports and permits are required, obviously, by DEP. We had them for all our facilities several years ago, but since we relocated the Parks Department over to the new facility and we moved the transfer station over, we need the plans to be
And this is a state mandate.
yes.
All right, questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor and Warren P. Hess to enter an agreement, can I just do that? With Weston and Sampson, 712 Brook Street, Rocky Hill, for industrial permit outfall sampling and reporting for the DPW garage, police headquarters, the transfer station, and the park and recreation facility in the amount of $24,000 as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
Second motion.
So how does this differ from the last one?
This, the first one was to get the actual permits for these two facilities. This one is to actually do the sampling at all the locations. The first one won't happen again. The second one will.
That's something you've got to do regularly or once a
Every year. I mean, there's certain things that if you get enough clean years, then you can start to scale back. But it's all new permits, you start all over again, so. Increase requirements like.
Yeah, it's a state mandate.
Are the sites getting better over time or not?
Let me answer.
I guess it's no.
No, the town is getting better as a whole, right?
Town's getting better,
Okay.
yes. We don't have a big problem with our sites other than there. The difficulty we have is we don't really have outfalls to measure. It's kind of difficult. Right? So up at the police station where the sand facility is, where's the water? The sheet flows everywhere. So it's kind of hard to figure that out. The street department garage, the water's going in every direction. So that's the difficulty. We're in good shape. We're reporting every year, and DEP doesn't bother us. So we're very happy. There are enough towns out there that aren't doing anything or years behind. We're filling out all our forms, everything. We're doing well.
When we make this statement, I want you to see if you agree.
I agree.
Jeremy and his crew out there with all these catch basins all year. Every one of those makes our system better. All these new pipes, it's all stormwater related. It makes our system better. I guarantee you that our town is doing more in furtherance of what the state wants us to do than almost anyone else, and we're doing a good job and getting better under their mandate. Is that accurate?
Perfectly accurate.
I don't like when you don't plug Jeremy in the team. All right. We need more.
I don't want his head to grow too much.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Most that the Board of Mayor and Burgess has approved the purchase of a 10-wheeler truck for the Department of Public Works with an increase of $78,261. The increase will be distributed over the remaining years of the lease and will not affect the fiscal year 2025 appropriation as recommended by Public Works Director James Stewart.
Second motion.
All right, so all we're really doing here is working with Allison and finding the best way to smooth out that extra cost that was incurred when the kids vandalized the 10-wheeler truck. So we're proceeding to get the truck, and we are spreading that difference out over the remaining years of the lease, which is how many years? 5 years.
Whatever happened to the kids tapping into their allowance?
Did we ever get any money back from the kid?
I haven't heard anything yet.
I'm not aware of it. You have to ask the chief, and they're underage, so I.
What about the parents?
Yeah, bill their parents. I'm sorry, it makes me so mad, like, they need to be held accountable, like, everyone else is gonna pay for something they did.
So I would instruct you, Jane, to have the borough attorney follow up on the criminal case and the potential of recouping our funds in any manner afforded by law.
And the courts will screw it up.
Well,
Okay?
At least give it a try. Exactly. Have to try. Snatches allowance.
All right.
It's probably not on.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I'm sorry, take it all away.
Motion of the Board of Managers. Motion that the Board of Mayor and Burgess authorize Mayor Hess to enter an agreement with Amtech 98 Avon Meadow Lane Avon to provide arbitrage rebate calculation services as needed for the TIP fund per the agreement as recommended by Controller Allison W. Bruce. That's my new favorite word, arbitrage.
So we're gonna start off, it is a cool word. So there are laws about what you can do with interest that we're earning on our tip money. So we got 17 million and it's earning interest. So the laws are basically, you can't just sit there and not spend the money and collect interest and maximize it. No, you're supposed to spend the money, and we have to keep track of it and follow some fairly complex rules and laws. So we decided that the best way to do that is to bring in this company that does that professionally. And Allison found that and recommended this company to do that task for us. You can take it from there.
So, the rules through IRS is that we're allowed to earn interest up to the interest rate of the bond. Anything that exceeds the interest rate of the bond, we're not allowed to hold on to. It's tracked on a carry forward basis for 5 years. So this company will be tracking through our financials with US Bank up through 2028. And then there'll be a determination as to how much of the interest earned we have to turn over to the IRS. And there's ways of minimizing that through how quickly we're spending the money down from our bond proceeds.
Will they give us advice on that along the way?
Yes, and so they're gonna be taking our financials every year, and they're gonna be doing their carry forward calculations, and in 2028, they'll be actually filling out our IRS forms for us.
Right.
And then letting us know how much of the interest we have to give to the IRS, and how much we have to keep ourselves.
And how we pay them?
It's gonna be paid through the tip.
Is there a set amount or?
If there's a rate in the contract that I
Oh, yeah.
left, there's rates for different pieces on that.
Gotcha.
It's not an exorbitant amount, it's just worthy of having a professional track for us.
Shut the eyes, yeah.
Thank you.
Keeps us honest.
All right, any questions? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgesses refer to the joint boards of Mayor and Burgesses and Board of Finance, the end of year transfers in 2023-24 budget as recommended by Controller Allison W. Bruce.
Second motion.
It's just year-end transfers, we're sending it there.
Correct.
Talk about it over there.
So the good news is that we are projected again to have a surplus. I like it when it's boring like that. So we are going to have a surplus, but the finance board will be meeting to do the intra transfers within departments first, and then anything that needs to be transferred between departments, we'll bring to the joint board afterward, and I'm targeting for November. Not to see any huge spike, just operational needs.
Questions? Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion of the Board of Mayor and Burgesses authorize Controller Allison W. Bruce to refund the following tax refunds approved by tax collector James Goggin as of right.
Second motion.
All right, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment. At this time, we will entertain public comment, in the room or on Zoom. Second call. Last call. All right, we move to Burgess comments. One of my favorite parts of the day. Let's start with Burgess Wilson.
and Gail, because we're a team.
Okay. We'll have a joint report.
Yes, we met with John Harris today about a few items, but just to let you know that in the trades program, there's 23 students actively involved. In the EMT program, there's 15 students involved.
Nice.
And in the fire program, there's 25 students.
That's awesome, great.
Involved. They are currently working too with Cheshire, they went to see Cheshire High School about a manufacturing program too. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
check with Waterbury. Waterbury has one. And we have a strong relationship with Waterbury, so it might be easy to pull up.
Yeah, we brought that up. And we also talked about different connections. You know, a lot of schools want to go to a place like Sikorsky or someplace like that for a manufacturing relationship. That's great. Both of my sons work for Sikorsky. I know what the company is, but everybody wants Sikorsky. There are local companies that literally, I was at a child's birthday party and I had somebody from a local company come to me and say, we want a relationship with your high school kids. And, you know, I said, we're working on it, I swear. So we gave John that person's information today, gave him the information about a former student who is working for NASA through an manufacturing company in Connecticut right now, and recently obtained a patent for a washing machine that works in space, a way to wash astronauts' clothes in space. He was just a really neat kid doing really cool stuff that will be encouraging to our high school students. And we talked about the applicability of the Perkins grant for some of the CNC machines, which are very expensive, but it's always good to have that on site for students to have that hands-on approach.
It's about $40,000.
Yeah, just in the three that they mentioned. Yeah, and honestly, I thought that was cheap.
I didn't think that was that bad.
More. No, it wasn't. I hate to say it that way, but it's true.
Waste treatment.
Yeah. We met with folks from Viola, the waste treatment plant, who are interested. They're right now part of an environmental science course at Seymour High School. They would like to come to Naugatuck High School and do the same thing. They kind of co-teach with the teacher. I won't get into too much detail that have no need to be interested in, but basically they come out and work with the teacher to create the curriculum, co-teach some of the topics, and get kids ready. So you could leave high school after having passed a certification test to take you to Tier 1 certification in waste management, which would put an 18-year-old kid into a $30 an hour job. Were they successful in that regard? It's a nice experience for kids, and it's one more way to have all kids graduate high school with a plan. Not just I'm going to get a job after high school, but here's a job that I've been training for, and I got interested in because I was offered that curriculum at my high school.
John Harris is very receptive to walls.
Hugely. Yep. Huge.
Which is great. I mean, he's, you know.
Yep. We also.
It's great.
Yep. We also talked to him about the possibility of our high school students creating an ecosystem on our golf course to eat the bugs through the construction of bat and bird houses in a planful way and a scientific way. Bob Sagendorf, a good friend of ours, was at a golf course in Maine. If you've ever been to Maine in the summer, it's extremely buggy. And he was very impressed at the fact that this golf course is not using chemicals for the bugs, they're using this ecosystem that was created. We thought, what a great idea that would be for our high school kids to create it. John Harris today talked to us about the Matter in Motion science course that's currently being taught at the high school, that this would fit in with the curriculum. And then we would have the resources for the kids to actually build the birdhouses, create the ecosystem, install them at Outbrook, and create a better environment. And then we'll tackle the goose poop. The goose poop. So we found a very, very receptive atmosphere for moving these things forward.
Thank you. Charles?
Yeah, it's been a good month. You know, if you've been downtown any of the weekends, a lot of vitality down there, a lot of foot traffic going around. Even given the construction was going on with the fairs that happened, it was pretty impressive to see how St. Michael's was able to make it work on the green. The food truck festival made it work. Harvest Moon was able to make it work. And I know all of us was looking forward to the completion of the project so they can get back to normal, even tap into some of the amenities that will improve it. I want to speak of one activity in particular that happened this past month, and this last weekend. It was the Mission 22 hike. It was my first time doing it. I was able to do half of it before I had to come back to perform downtown. What a great event.
It did not impact your ability to play the trumpet.
No, it did not, until after the gig, and then exactly, I couldn't even walk upstairs. But all in all, it was an amazing event. Our CERT people, you were there to help. It was wonderful to see you guys in action, doing what you do in the community, and the true appreciation of, you know, someone just walked 7 miles to see you guys at the end of the path, there to make sure everyone's okay. It was really wonderful to see. You guys did a bang up job on that event, made it possible. The event, you know, as a whole is something that, Mayor, I'm so glad you kind of adopted that event, embraced it here in town. I would strongly suggest many people try and do it as possible. There's so many exit points. You can hike to your level of comfort, and you can support a great event. And are they still taking donations?
Yes.
They're still taking donations. So if you go onto their website, go onto their Facebook page, you get details. I'd strongly recommend helping them to reach their goal, exceed their goal. A worthy cause. You know, people that signed up for our all-volunteer military in today's world. Nobody forced them to join. They joined out of love of their country, and were deployed to some pretty hairy situations in this world. And they served the complaint. They did their job. They did their mission. Now it's incumbent upon all of us to do our mission and support them and help them in their time of need and help prevent suicide. It's a real important thing. But Mission 22 is amazing. I'm so glad that we got to be a part of it. So glad we got our scouts to be a part of it so young people can see what it's all about. And it was very helpful. And I have to throw a plug in for the Naugatuck High School Marching Band Thunder in the Valley competition on the 12th of October, 6 o'clock at Naugatuck High School on the field. One of the best venues in New England to see a marching band show. And this is from the mouths of directors from all over New England who have performed there. It's a great place to catch a show. It starts at 6 o'clock. Tickets are extremely affordable. You're going to see 11 different competing bands from 2 different states. Make every effort you can to get there. Encourage all the Burgesses, if you can, get in for at least a part of it. I know they're always looking for trophy presenters and helpers and dignitaries. You'd be very welcome to be there. But it's a great event, and the money they make helps sustain and grow our high school music department, and that's important.
All state. Mike?
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate the Boy Scouts on a great Harvest Moon Festival. It was very successful. They did a nice job keeping it all set up and, you know, protecting everything through the night, through the weekend. It was a nice event.
Thank you.
Very good. Not with that.
The only thing I do have is that, and I did reach out to Sandy, but I just wanted to make everyone else aware too, the new dugouts up at the new baseball field have already been vandalized 3 times, spray painted, and no, not yet, but I believe that's being worked on. But I did have some parents from some of the older baseball teams that are utilizing the space offer to assist with cleanup or repainting because there are some foul things in there that the kids shouldn't be seeing. They did send me some pictures I can pass along if you'd like, but I did reach out to Sandy and she's aware and it's being addressed and cleaned up, I guess, but it's happened more than once already. So I think, I don't know if we need to look into cameras up there or posting a patrol here and there, just like the visual of a police cruiser sitting there maybe will deter these kids that we're aware, we're watching, kids, adults, I don't know, just based on spelling, it's kids, but.
Yeah.
Much small swear words, right?
Yeah.
PH cuss.
But I did just want everyone to be aware that that's happening up there.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Dorothy?
The back to school event, was good. We were across the street at Salem School. We, saw a lot of parents, handed out a lot of bags. We gave out string bags this year that had our anti-bully slogan, changing behavior, changing the narrative by changing behavior, which was pretty well received. Also gave a bunch of them to the little tots for the preschool, and the parents loved it. And by doing that, Marilyn and I actually got an invite to the women's organization to set up our table in Milford for the anti-bully campaign. So we thought that was pretty good as well. PSC meeting last night, all the schools have a ton of fundraisers, so they're pretty much going to advertise all that out on Facebook or whatever. So if you can, try to support the PTOs at the individual schools. And Chris last night said that they're in the middle of redoing the vision of the graduate. And I suspect it has a lot to do with the incorporating of manufacturing and non-college level programs.
Also, yes.
Yeah, so I think that'll be good.
That's
There's a definite pathway and alternate directions without having to go to college. That's it.
Thank you. Rick?
No, I just want to mention, mention about the spelling. You tell those juveniles, it's just ironic that somebody can do that, but would also not know how to spell. So to pay more attention to the structure than they are to their education. We had a similar situation a number of years back when somebody was going around painting swastikas. What they didn't realize, they were painting a Buddhist insignia, not a Nazi swastika, because it looks the same, but it's the opposite direction. So that shows you the mentality of destructive stuff. Just wanted to remind anyone, I know it's a little early, but we probably got a notification about the Veterans Day Parade, Monday, November 11th, 2024. Assembly time's 1:30, parade time is 2 o'clock. From the IRB parking lot. So I think everybody has a copy of it. That's it.
Was that sent over to the board of ed?
I don't know.
I'll get it to Marilyn.
I'll check with Andrew.
Bob?
Hey, a couple things. One, Rocky and I attended a meeting for at the police department with Kenny Hanks and Colin and a couple of people on Zoom regarding the dispatch communication center. Very interesting project that's going to be done. I guess we need to find out how we're going to fund this. Right now there's projected cost of about $1.4 million for what they want to do there. A little tour of the different rooms to get a visual of what the plan is as far as moving dispatch to here, training to here, and other things like that. So it was a good meeting. So
Let me throw something out.
Yeah.
This is just thinking of a possible fund. If we can't find any alternate funding sources, and we put the project into 2 fiscal years, knowing that June 30th and July 2nd are only a couple of days apart, that really means you could do it in 2 years and 1 year. And maybe that is something we could look at to divide the cost into 2 years, but only really have to wait a year.
But what I'm going to guess is that on high end of the project is that you're going to have to have a lot of upfront money.
Yeah, so
Give you an example. Say 1.4 was a number.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at 850 to 900,000 first phase, and then the balance second phase.
Well, you're right. The phasing is important, but doesn't that number include 3 separate rooms?
Yes,
So you don't have to do all 3 rooms at once.
but I think,
One room is more expensive.
economically,
Yeah.
it's probably feasible to do all 3 rooms at the same time.
Well, but that means we have to put 1.4 million in the
Well,
budget.
You're gonna take the dispatch and move it to where the training center is. The training center is getting moved over to the records room. Records room's getting moved to where the old dispatch is, so.
So let's just throw this out there. And I think that most of us agree that this needs to be done, should be done, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But we wanna find the most, easiest way to do it financially. Is that right?
Absolutely. Now, my next,
Well, hold on.
my next question would be, is that if we look at the full picture of what we have to do over the next few years, and we have some projects that we're gonna be looking at over the next few years that are extremely costly. The way we get around with our 5-year capital program is that we reinvest the monies that come back to us, and that's how we do that. These projects here are not reimbursable. And so I guess the question is, where are we on current bonding as far as bonds coming off our where we are now? Number 2, are there 10-year bonds available for some of these projects where we don't want to bond a project like this for 20 years, quite honestly, because it's not worth it. I'm just trying to spitball some different ideas.
So, it's a complicated question.
I get it.
And we're not gonna do it here.
No, we're not. But I just want to throw out there that
throw out that we really don't want to bond anything until our next school or something big, if we want to get a AAA credit rating.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of considerations. So it's gonna take a lot of thought to get it right.
exactly, because the long-term projects, we've got, possible dog pound, possible public works facility, an ambulance facility. So those are all the ambulance facility.
High school field.
Well, I'm gonna bring that up next.
Well, so that, we have the money.
Where?
In the Board of Education capital fund,
They have it there?
2 million.
They have
They need
it?
a new field.
They have 2 million in a fund?
Yeah, we're holding it for.
Okay, well, that's great to know. That's great to know, because right now, the projected cost, and it's based on a couple of different factors, and I really need to ask some questions regarding it, is between 1.2 and 1.4 million.
So, Allison, I don't know, isn't the number 2 million?
It's 2 million and possibly a little higher depending upon how the 3 asbestos projects turn out. There would be a little bit of money returned to that as well.
Is that include a new track
So, about several years ago,
and pit?
maybe 4 years ago,
We gave it to them.
no, it was back and forth. But the long and short of it was, we held on to the money, but we set it aside to be used only for Board of Ed projects. And we have in our capital reserve account about 2 million of their money, which they intend to use for their football field.
Okay, because there was other projects that were mentioned to utilize that 2 million, which was some asbestos.
Well, that's already taken care of, right?
But there was,
Asbestos has
but there
been
was some
set
other
aside.
stuff too, so.
And then there was another project
Yeah.
that they applied for a couple of years ago
Yeah.
that they didn't make,
All right.
they didn't get it approved.
Okay.
So that money went back in and brought.
Well, I'm glad that we have the money in special account, because quite honestly, from day one, when the high school was renovated, they were supposed to put X amount of dollars in the special fund every year for the field, and they didn't do that.
Happened
We did,
once years ago,
we did,
and then it never happened
yeah,
again.
yeah, which, that bothers me, so. But that's just another project that we see coming down, which they're looking to get this thing started in spring, summer of 2025, because the field is atrocious right now. So, big shot. And, you know, I got issues with that because if we maintain it properly, we wouldn't have major issues. We'd still have issues, but you can't maintain that field twice a year. It's absurd. It should be more than twice a year to maintain that field. Because of the use of that field is unbelievable. And Charlie, you're right, you brought some stuff up before, is that the kids have to be taught how to move stuff on the field instead of dragging the damn stuff on the field. You have to have some education so we don't wreck the field. And that's the stuff that bothers me. It gets me crazy because I take it personally because it was a project that I chaired and we had a lot of good people involved with it. And when I see stuff that gets abused and not done the right way, it really bothers me. So, and I'm sure it bothers Charlie too.
Well, I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone down there and picked up trash when I'm on a run, or, you know, we have outside people that also use the field that we do let utilize, and they leave it trashed, and it's like, well, then maybe we don't continue to allow these programs to use it, which I hate for the kids, but
yeah,
it's not good.
And
We're
the thing
spending
is
all this
that
money.
when the high school was done, and we knew that there was a lot of exterior work that had to be done there, they hired a specific person to come in and do that maintenance outside. I don't know what happened, but I can tell you, I can walk around that and make a list of the stuff that's ridiculous. And I'm not saying just the high school, it's other schools too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of things that, you know, do we prune trees? Do we get rid of the weeds in the freaking in the islands? I mean, stuff like that. That I want this to be a Class A facility. That's what our initial goal is. When somebody comes in and they drive in that driveway, holy crap, this is beautiful. But when I see stuff that is just normal maintenance, it drives me freaking insane. And, you know, I can only say things so often, you know, because there's nothing to complain about. No, I don't complain. I'm passionate about having our facilities look good. That's the way I am. So, but anyways, I'm off that tangent right now. So the next one and the last one is that the NEDC has our annual meeting on the 17th October. It's a Thursday evening, 5:30 to 7:30. We're going to have two guest speakers. Karma Chung from Penrose is going to be one of the speakers, and also Gary and Jeff from Corvus Capital is going to be the other speakers. I think it's going to be extremely interesting because we're getting close to for these projects to start, and I think it'll be a nice jump start for them to come and get us excited close to fruition on this project. So,
Great. Okay, it is now time for a special report from the deputy mayor.
I just want to know what a Buddhist symbol is. I always say I have the body of a god, Buddha.
The opposite of the other.
Buddha is a, take
Well played.
a Nazi swastika and turn it around. That is the original swastika that the actual Nazis adopted.
It's very interesting. I learn something to do with these meetings all the time. So your high school thing is very interesting because the EMT class is especially important. Every ambulance service in the area at the end of summer loses college kids that came to work on the ambulance. So they're always looking for replacements. Plus, there's so many that become PAs and nurses and go on to higher education. And it's absolutely, it's such a great starting point if you're interested in that field. Also interesting what you were talking about, the birdhouses and the environmental stuff. Please feel free to come up to the dog park and put birdhouses if you want. We have 4 right now. And I had a birder that comes up there and checks them all the time. And he actually goes online with some federal thing. And he marks how many eggs, where the birds are. He does Guntown and a whole load of the other things. Well, next week he's moving out of state. So if there's anybody at the high school that's interested in doing that, please, you know, send them my way. We'd be glad glad to do that. Also, the Mark,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
moving.
Interested in that.
Um,
So
The festival was wonderful. As usual, the highlight of the thing was the band. And there was my absolute favorite musician was there. I love the drummer.
He was great.
It was very nice. And lastly, on the cameras and the dumping and the litter, I know it's taken a long time, but I've got 3 vendors that are interested. One in New York is extremely interested and calls me weekly and saying, where are we and what are we doing? And also there's a company that's called Vicon. There's also a company called Pelcon out of California. They seem very interested in doing this. I got most of these contacts from the state of Connecticut. I got a hold of them and I said, what vendors do you use, who have you been happy with? So there's only one more I'm waiting to get some information back on. They work with our software, they work with governments all the time. So the only thing we're gonna need at the end of this, because I'm no expert on this, I'm just collecting information, is we will need an expert to look and say, here's the locations that we'd like to put them in. Is the location viable? Is this the right equipment? And is it set up right? So at some point, we will need to do that. That's it.
Okay. So,
Fruitful round.
that takes us to item 31.
Oh, and me again? Motion to recess to executive session at 8:47 for discussion on the following. Real estate parcels A, B, C, Y, and Z, Naugatuck Industrial Park, Section 3, Rear View Mobile Home Park, Hershey Property, Human Resource Development Building, 575 Rubber Avenue, easement agreement to Church Street, former resident property, Tom's Firearms, cell tower at former Unova property and pending litigation.
Inviting in. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. See ya.
Opposed?
Bye.
I will reconvene the meeting at 9:17. We're coming out of the executive session and we will be acting on 4 items. Number 1, I will entertain a motion that the Borough of Naugatuck acquire the building at 575 Rubber Avenue, owned by the Human Resource Development Agency, for the sum of $1.
So moved.
All right, and just by way of discussion, the plan would be that we will acquire the building and either sell it as is or investigate the feasibility of improvements, make some improvements and sell it for a higher price. And the building inspector and our development team will decide which alternative will reach more money for the borough.
Is the building currently in a position where mold can set in right now?
Well, is there a lot of it? Any questions or discussion? We have a motion in a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Shoot to the middle.
Okay. I will entertain a motion. Will I be authorized on behalf of the town to enter into an agreement with the owners of 2 Church Street and the former or the current pawn shop on Rubber Avenue to allow us to enter into an access agreement with them in return for the borough providing insurance coverage and maintenance of those areas and establishing signage to to prevent the public from parking on private property.
So moved.
Nancy, could you read that
So I have authorized mayor has to enter into an agreement with 2 Church Street and the current pawn shop on Rubber Avenue. An access agreement that the
Okay,
borough
access.
providing in. Excuse me?
back? No, I said, you didn't say access. We need access to it.
And she said it
And
just.
Was-
the borough,
All right, take it
and the
from
borough providing. Go ahead.
All right, I'll say it again. I be given authorization to enter into an access agreement wherein the borough will receive easement rights to pass and repass through property at 2 Church Street and the current pawn shop on Rubber Avenue in return for the borough ensuring said parcels, providing maintenance and preventing the public from parking on private property.
Is that a different one?
No.
Oh, okay, so we already seconded it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it, Nancy?
Yes, and I'll listen back to make sure I got it correctly.
Okay. All right, so we did have a
Yeah.
motion.
We have a motion and a second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. I will also entertain a motion that the borough acquire the real property at the former Tom's firearms site on Arch Street for $1 in return for the borough tearing down said building at borough expense and taking that property and disposing of the property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And just by way of discussion, the intention there would be that the building has to come down, it can't be rebuilt. We will be getting the land at no cost, except for our cost to demolish it, which we will do with our own forces to save money. And we will convert the area into a parking area for borough usage for general purposes on the Arch Street Rubber Avenue corridor, as well as parking for the new ambulance building that we intend to relocate across the street on the former wisdom site.
Just form of discussion.
Any questions? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is that it?
That was four.
Yeah.
Yeah, one was, we don't have to do it.
Oh, okay.
So. Okay, let's proceed to item 33.
Motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:24 PM.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?